I remember
Obiora never
the first
hunted
time
again.
I met
He no
Obiora.
longer walked with pride.
It was the dry
His
season
back,
in our
once
village
straight,
of
bent
Umuchieze,
under the weight of
a
something
time when the earth
unseen.
cracked under
At
the
night,
weight of the
the
sun,
villagers heard him
and the
mumbling in
rivers
his sleep,
shrank like frightened
whispering of
children.
eyes in the darkness,
I was just a
of
boy then,
voices calling his
following
name.
my uncle,
Then,
Emeka,
one morning,
on his hunting trips.
he was gone.
That was how I first
No one saw him
Obiora,
leave.
the
His
man
weapons
they called
remained
the
in his
greatest
hut,
hunter in
his
all of
footprints
Alayoba.
stopping at the forest's
He was
edge.
tall.
Some
his
said
back as straight as the
he had
spear
gone
he
back to
carried.
face whatever
His
haunted
eyes
him.
were sharp.
Others
always
believed
scanning the
the
forest,
spirit had
and his
finally
arms,
taken him.
strong as the
One
roots of
thing
an
was
iroko
certain.
tree,
From that
bore
night
the
on,
scars of many
no
battles with
hunter
wild
in
beasts.
Umuchieze ever
The men
entered the
admired
forest
him.
after dark.
The women whispered his name.
Because sometimes
Even the elders
it is
spoke
not
of
the
his
beasts
skill.
that
But
we
for
should
all
fear.
his strength,
It is the
there was
things
one thing
that watch from the
Obiora
shadows,
feared:
waiting for those foolish
the
enough
nights.
to enter.
It was a
Obiora
strange
raised
thing.
his head, a
And for
hunter
the first time,
in
afraid
his
of
life.
darkness.
He looked old.
In Umuchieze,
Because
best
I was
hunters
not alone in
were
that
those
forest,
who moved like
he
shadows,
whispered.
striking
A
their
chill
prey
ran through
when
the
the
crowd.
moonlight barely touched
What
the
did
earth.
you see?
But
Someone
not
asked.
Obiora.
Obiora
He
swallowed
always
hard.
returned.
When I
Before
shot the
sun
leopard,
fell,
it
never
did not
daring
die
to
like an
step
animal.
into the bush.
It did not
once
even
the sky
bleed.
darkened.
It only
Some
laughed.
laughed at him.
A gasp
Others
ran through
were
the
curious.
The
But no one
elders
questioned
exchanged uneasy glances.
Not until the night
I
that
tried to
changed
run.
everything.
But the darkness,
It was
It
at the
moved.
village square
it followed me.
during the
Whispering
festival
my
of the
name.
new yam. When the
Obiora's voice
boastful
dropped
words
lower,
were spoken,
as if afraid
the
to say more.
elders sat in a circle.
Something is
watching
coming.
the young men wrestle.
Something older than
their
any
bodies
of us.
glistening with sweat and
Silence.
dust. Then,
Palm
an
wine
old woman
stepped
flowed
forth.
freely.
She
And the air
was the oldest
was
in the
thick with the
village.
scent of
Her
roasted
face
goat meat.
wrinkled like the bark of a
Obiora
sacred tree.
sat with the other hunters.
You should not
His
have
bow
entered
resting
that
against
forest,
his knee.
she said.
His gaze distant.
That was not a leopard.
That was when
That was an Agbara,
the younger
the
hunter,
spirit of the
known
old
for his
world.
reckless tongue,
And now
spoke.
it knows you.
I could not
A
sleep
hunter
that night.
who fears the
I
night
sat
is
outside
no
my
hunter
uncle's hut,
at all.
staring
He
at the
said,
forest's edge,
loud enough for
waiting
everyone
for
to
any
hear.
sign of movement.
The square
Then,
fell silent.
sometime in the
All
deepest
eyes
part of
turned
the
to
night,
Obiora.
we heard
He did not move at
a
first.
scream.
His
Not the
fingers
cry of a
tightening around
man,
his drinking
nor the
bowl.
roar of a
Then,
beast. But
slowly,
something in between.
he lifted his gaze to
something
something
unnatural. Do you wish to test my
The
skill?
village stirred.
He asked. People
His voice
peering out
calm
of their
but
homes,
firm.
clutching
Okafor
charms and
smirked.
muttering prayers. Not your
The
skill,
forest
your
went
courage.
silent.
No wind. The elders
No
watched
insects.
interest. Nothing. Challenges
Then
among
came
the
the
sound
sound
of
of
footsteps, but none had
A
dared
figure
to stumbled
Obiora
out of the
before,
darkness, dragging something
named
behind
the
him.
challenge.
Obiora
said.
His clothes were torn, his body covered in scratches, and his eyes. There is a black leopard. His eyes held a terror I had never
The
seen.
elders
say it is no in his hand.
beast.
He clutched a spirit, but his quiver was that walks between worlds. Behind him, if you are something large lay in the dawn, go into the black leopard tonight. But there was no victory in Obiora's face.
Murmurs
Pride.
spread
He
through
fell
the
to his
crowd.
knees in the
The
village
forbidden
square.
forest was a
trembling.
place of fear,
The elders
where
approached
old
cautiously.
spirits were said to dwell.
Obiora,
No one
Chief
entered
Mosu
after
said,
dark,
you have
not
done
even
what
the
no
bravest
man
warriors.
has done before. Why do you
Obiора's
tremble?
face, murmurs
Remained
spread
unreadable.
through the crowd. He glanced
The
at the
forbidden
elders,
forest
who
was
said
a
place of
nothing.
fear. This
Where old
was a matter
spirits
of
were
pride,
said to dwell.
not tradition. No one entered after
After
dark,
a long silence,
not even
he
the
rose to
bravest
his feet.
warriors. I will go. Obiora's face,
He said,
remained
that night,
unreadable as the village
he
prepared
glanced
to
at the
sleep.
elders.
Obiora
said
prepared for his hunt. This was a matter of pride.
From behind my
Not
uncle
tradition.
as he checked his weapons.
After a long
His
silence,
bow,
he rose to his
his
feet.
arrows tipped with poison,
I will go,
and his sharpest
he
knife.
said. That
His
night,
expression was
as the
unreadable,
village prepared to
but
sleep,
I saw it in his
Obiora
eyes.
prepared for his hunt.
Fear. I watched, yet
From
he did
behind
not
my
hesitate
uncle
as he checked his weapons. With the whole village
His
watching,
bow,
he walked
arrows
towards the
tipped with
forbidden
poison,
forest,
and his
disappearing
sharpest
into its
knife.
shadowy embrace. His expression
people
was
whispered
unreadable long after, but I saw it in his eyes. Some believed he would not
Fear.
return. Others,
Yet he did not
feared
hesitate.
what he might bring back.
With the whole
I
village
could not
watching,
sleep that
he
night.
walked towards the
I
forbidden
sat
forest,
outside my
disappearing
uncle's hut,
into its shadowy
staring
embrace.
at the forest's edge. The people whispered, waiting for
long
any
after
sign
he was
of movement. Some
Then,
believed, sometime in the
return.
deepest part of the
Others
night, feared what he might bring back. Scream. Not
A
the cry
hunter
of a man, nor
fears
the
the
roar
night
of a beast,
no hunter
but something
at
in
all.
between.
He said,
Something
loud enough
unnatural.
for everyone to hear.
The
The
village
square
stirred.
fell silent.
People peering
All
out of their
eyes
homes,
turned to
clutching
Obiora.
charms and
He
muttering
did not
prayers.
move at first.
The forest,
His fingers
silent.
tightening around his
No
drinking
wind, no
Then,
insects,
slowly,
nothing. He lifted his
then
gaze to
came
the
the
sound of footsteps. Do you wish to
A
test
figure
my skill?
stumbled
Out of the darkness, dragging his voice calm but firm. Obiora, not your skill, his body covered in scratches, and his elders watched with his eyes held in terror. Challenges among hunters were common, but none had dared provoke Obiora before. But his quiver was then aimed the challenge. Behind him, Obiora said, something large lay in the door. Stood the black-less voice clear, but there was no black leopard in Obiora's face. Forest, no pride. The elders say it is no knees in the village square, but a spirit trembling. It killed walks cautiously. Obiora, truly the greatest hunter, said, go, you have done what no man has done. Bring back its skin. Why do you tremble? It was a strange thing. A hunter, afraid of darkness. Obiora raised his
Umuchieze,
head,
the best
for the
hunters
first time
in
with
his
those
life,
who could move like shadows, striking the
because
prey.
I was not
The
alone
moonlight
in that
barely
forest.
touched the earth. He whispered, but not
chill
Obiora ran through the crowd. He always returned.
What did you see?
Before the sun fell,
Someone
never
asked.
daring to
Obiora
step
swallowed
into the bush
hard.
once the sky darkened.
When I shot the leopard, it did
Some
not die
laughed
like
at
an
him.
animal. It did not even
Others
bleed.
were curious.
It only,
but no one
only
questioned
laughed.
him.
The
Not
gasp
until the
ran
night
through
that
the
changed everything.
The elders exchanged
It was at the
uneasy
village square
I tried to
during
run,
the festival of
but
the
the darkness,
darkness, when the
it
boastful
moved.
words were spoken.
It followed me.
The elders
Whispered
sat
my
in a
name.
circle,
Obiora's
watching the
voice
young
dropped
men
low,
wrestle as if their
afraid to
bodies
say
glistening
more.
with sweat and dust.
Something is coming.
Palm
Something
wine
older than any
flowed
of us.
freely.
Silence.
And the air was then
With the
an
scent
old
of
woman
roast
stepped
meat.
forward.
She
Obiora
was the
sat
oldest
in
in
the
the
other
village.
hunters, her
His
face
bow
resting
wrinkled like
against
the bark
his
of a
knee, his
single
gaze
tree.
distant.
You
That was
should
when
not have
Okafor,
entered that forest.
a younger
she said.
hunter,
That
known
was
for his
not a
reckless
leopard.
tongue,
That was an
spoke.
Obiora.
I remember
the spirit
the
of
first
the old
time
world.
I met
And
Obiora.
now,
It was the
knows
dry
you.
season.
Obiora
in our village
never
of
hunted
Umuchieze.
again. He no
The
longer
time
walked
when the earth
with pride.
cracked under the
His
weight
back
of the sun,
once straight,
and the
bent
rivers
under the
shrank
weight of
like
something
frightened children.
unseen.
I
At
was
night,
just a boy
the
then,
villagers heard him mumbling
following
in
my
his sleep,
uncle, Nemika,
whispering of eyes in the
hunting
darkness, of
That was how I
voices
first saw
calling his name.
Obiora, the
Then,
man they called
one
the
morning,
greatest hunter
he was
in
gone.
all of Alayoma.
No
He
one
was
saw
tall,
him leave.
his back as
His
straight
weapons
as the
remained
spear
in his
carried.
hut.
His
His
eyes were
footprints
sharp,
stopping at the forest's
always
edge.
scanning the forest,
Some said
and his arms,
he had gone back to
strong as
face
the
whatever
roots of an
haunted him.
Iroko tree,
Others
bore the
believed
scars
the
of
spirit
many
had
battles
finally
with
taken
wild
him.
beasts. But
The
one
men
thing was
admired
certain.
him. From
The
that night
women
on,
whispered his name.
no hunter,
Even the elders
Umuchieze,
spoke of his
ever
skill.
entered the forest.
But for all
after
his
dark.
strength, there was
Because
one
sometimes
thing Obiora
it is not the
feared.
beasts that we should fear.
The night.